Thanks again for joining us here on KXAN News at 4. Earlier this week, the National Weather Service made a change to something that you'll notice coming up this summer. Chief Meteorologist Bannin is here to explain what that is.
Yeah, and you see the icicles behind you, so I should probably explain. Over the last few years, the National Weather Service have been doing something to rework the naming of their alerts to simplify the language a little bit. And they did this, if you remember, last winter for hard freeze watches and freeze watches, as well as hard freeze warnings and freeze warnings. They got consolidated to just freeze watch and freeze warnings. They also did this with winter weather alerts for cold. Extreme cold watches and wind chill watches got consolidated to just extreme cold watches. And then they did the same with the warnings becoming just extreme cold warnings. And then wind chill advisories became cold weather advisories. So getting it a little more familiar as far as the naming of these alerts go. Well, what they did beginning this past Tuesday, so just a couple of days ago, they've tweaked the wording of excessive heat watches and warnings, getting rid of the term excessive and changing it over to extreme. It's not a huge difference, but it kind of aligns better with some of those winter warnings, extreme cold warning. So now we have extreme heat watch and extreme heat warning. So the criteria for these warnings hasn't changed. We'll still get heat advisories when either the air temperature is expected to be 103 or the feels like temperature at or above 108. And we'll still get what is now going to be known as the extreme heat warning for air temperatures of 105 or hotter, or the feels like temperatures of 113 or hotter. But you just won't be hearing the term excessive heat watches and warnings. Instead, it's the term extreme, just to get on board with the same naming structure that we use in the winter. Now on KXAN.com right now, under the weather blog section, which is under the weather and traffic tab, I dove into the changes there and why we're going with these excessive heat warnings going away and extreme heat warnings coming in, just so you can familiarize yourself before winter. Hopefully, before summer, I should say. Hopefully we don't get those types of warnings in the summer time this summer, but you know, we probably will, right? Plenty of clouds over us now, and as we take you into the future, these clouds will continue to thicken up here tonight, taking away the clear parts of our sky that we have now and replacing them with thicker clouds by late evening, and then another batch of low clouds coming in for tomorrow morning. So you're not going to start off tomorrow morning like you did today, where we had the sunshine early on for many of us. Well, tomorrow morning starts with a lot of low clouds. But those low clouds lift away as we go through the morning, giving way to a very sunny, very warm afternoon here tomorrow. It's already warm now. We've got a southeast wind pushing us into the mid-70s. This is a few degrees above average. We should be at 70. We're at 74. It's not crazily above average, but it's a little above average. And then we'll be a good 10 degrees warmer than this here tomorrow. Let me show you those numbers. So we go into the evening, fall into the 60s here at 8. Overnight lows eventually get down into the 50s as we start off your Friday morning. And then as we head through the day tomorrow, still not a lot of temperature movement by midday because of those low clouds. But then the low clouds give way to a lot of sun late morning, early afternoon. And then here we go. Temperatures spike into the mid 80s. There could even be some upper 80s in parts of the hill country here tomorrow. So a good 10 degrees warmer than what we had here today on the way for tomorrow. So increasing clouds tonight, overnight lows of 59. That wind that we've had so much of out of the south will gradually back off, especially after the sun sets. We'll have a wind tonight out of the southeast, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Once the sun sets, it drops to those levels. And as the clouds increase and the temperatures cool, the humidity will start to increase as well, which will help to lower our fire danger tonight. Tomorrow, 85 your high, early morning clouds giving way to sun by late morning or early afternoon. Not as windy tomorrow, so less wind and a slightly more humid atmosphere should mean that the fire danger tomorrow is lower. As we go into the weekend, though, things get a little tricky for Saturday. A daytime cold front looks to arrive, but timing the exact arrival is going to make a huge difference as far as the high temperatures you see where you are. We've seen some indications that we may get to the 80s in some spots Saturday before that front comes in. Yet some of us, especially in the northern hill country, may not get out of the 60s because that front comes in on the earlier side. Right now we're going with 76 for the high in Austin around midday, and then those temperatures dropping in the afternoon. It's also going to get windy Saturday afternoon, and there will be a renewed concern for fire weather Saturday afternoon and early evening. Sunday, cooler air around mid-60s, Less wind, still breezy, but a lower fire concern than Saturday. Really not much rain over the next week either. Just a low 10% chance of that coming Saturday morning in the form of some patchy drizzle and sprinkles. So there will be more fire concerns coming next week with more dry air in place, more occasionally windy days, and no significant signs of rain. But we'll keep watching it. Look at those middle 80s by Wednesday and Thursday.